The uncomfortable truth about the Canadian healthcare system: it's free but never convenient. Hello, today I will tell you about the healthcare system in Canada. I will detail everything from general consultations to meetings with surgeons in two parts. So stay tuned until next week. You might think how nice it is to have free healthcare, but living through it, you'll find that this system is quite complex and unreasonable. Like Korea's health insurance, registering for MSP provides free access to medical consultations, surgeries, hospital stays, and emergency room services. However, dental, eye care, medication, and physical therapy are excluded, so private insurance is necessary. Typically, regular employees are partially covered by the extended health benefits provided by their company, but the limits are low, resulting in insufficient actual coverage. Above all, the major difference with South Korea is that physical therapy is not included in MSP. Typically, for one session, the cost ranges from $70 to $90. So in cases where rehabilitation physical therapy is absolutely necessary, the total amount spent, even if the surgery is free, is not significantly different. However, for employees, please note that company insurance can cover between $500 and $2,000. The cost of medication is also included in the government's healthcare system. But the coverage is low, making private insurance a necessity. I also don't have private insurance, so there are quite a few medications that aren't covered. I highly recommend that you ask your doctor to prescribe medications that are fully covered. However, over the past few years, the Canadian federal and provincial governments have gradually begun to expand their free support policies for certain prescription medications to reduce visits to family doctors. For example, British Columbia has started to provide certain contraceptives, diabetes-related medications, and medical devices for free. 1. All medical care in Canada must begin with a family doctor. The family doctor manages the patient's health records and acts as a gatekeeper, connecting them to specialists or hospitals through referrals when necessary. The problem is that the primary care physician often either does not accept new patients, or you have to wait for several months. First, when you go to the primary care physician, they check your symptoms and conduct all necessary tests. 2. The testing system is completely separate. I have now received a referral from my primary care physician. Where should I go? How nice would it be if we could move between floors? In a hospital like in Korea? Unfortunately, here you have to invest not only effort, but also a lot of time. For blood tests and urine tests, you need to go to places that specialize in these two tests, like Life Labs. You need to go to a place that specializes in medical imaging for X-rays or ultrasounds. These tests can usually be scheduled by yourself, or done on the same day. In addition, CT, MRI, and diagnostic breast cancer tests cannot be performed without a referral from your primary doctor, and are conducted at general hospitals, which may take several months to over a year to schedule. In my case, I had an MRI after 3 years. For tests that require a referral from the primary doctor, the clinic assistant will schedule the appointment, and you will be contacted by email or phone once the date is set. Here's a tip. Many mistakes occur during this appointment scheduling process. Please make sure to call and confirm whether your reservation is made and when you can expect to receive the date. There have been quite a few cases where important tests were not booked, and we didn't know whether it was a mistake on the side that made the reservation or the side that received it. For tests with a waiting period of several months or more, I really recommend private institutions. I will provide more details about this part in next week's episode 2. 3. The reason why you must find a primary care physician is that the first step in diagnosis and treatment must go through a primary care physician, and how actively the primary care physician connects. You can influence the speed of treatment. So you understand how important this is, right? Use the primary care physician search website BC Finder Doctor. Find a doctor who is accepting new patients on the platform you see on the screen and make an appointment immediately. It's important to keep searching until you find a doctor you like. Being too young is not good, but if too old, he or she might retire. So I recommend someone in their late 30s to around 40s. There are people who can quickly diagnose and say, "This is it, that's it." They don't really perform the tests you want and say things like, "I already know this." So, it's really difficult to get these people to agree to the test. Even if you make a request, it's often rejected. I strongly advise you to avoid it. Unless you are moving to a place so far that driving is impossible, I recommend maintaining the same primary care physician even if you change your residence or job. The primary care system in this country is well known, so taking a half day off or sick, leave to see your doctor is not a problem at all. So don't worry, and I recommend that you choose your primary care physician carefully and continue to stay with the same one. My primary care physician knows my body the best. Patients like me who are undergoing cancer treatment can get even the smallest tests prioritized as emergencies, allowing us to receive an MRI that usually takes 6 months to a year in just 2 weeks. So even if you don't have any pain right now, please make sure to start looking for a primary care physician. Until you find a primary care physician, you can use walk-in clinics. Start by finding a doctor with good reviews in a convenient location. Get treated, and if you feel comfortable, ask if they are accepting new patients. Even if they aren't, if you meet with one doctor consistently for a few months, they can provide important test orders, like a primary care physician. So please make good use of walk-ins. 4. Choosing a medical facility based on the severity of the injury. Whether it's a walk-in, urgent and primary care, or an emergency room, you cannot receive treatment without an appointment. There is only a general examination room with equipment and a bed that can just perform eye exams, ear exams, and measure blood pressure. So it is not possible to treat wounds like stitches. It's very different, right? Still, urgent and primary care is equipped with X-ray machines, which are useful for suspected bone fractures or injuries. In addition, there are measures for other high fevers or nausea, or they can urgently place an order for tests. The waiting time is shorter than the emergency room, around 2 to 5 hours. So if the situation displayed is not life-threatening, you can go to urgent care. If sutures are needed, there may be scars. And this is also true for the emergency room. My child had a head injury and was bleeding a lot. After waiting for over 3 hours in the emergency room, waiting area with blood everywhere, they ended up using glue medical adhesive to close it. In cases that are not surgical, there is no treatment other than stitches suturing. The shocking reality of the emergency room. Nowadays, I want to share the sad reality that many patients in the emergency room are dying without even meeting a doctor or being able to lie down on a bed. All the chairs in the waiting room have armrests, making it impossible to lie down. And it takes about 4 to 7 hours just to be guided to a bed. So, did you meet a doctor right away? No? It usually takes about 1 to 2 hours there. So when you go to the emergency room, it's chaotic with the sounds of people groaning in pain everywhere. 6. The only place for surgery and hospitalization is a general hospital, which truly reflects the limitations of the public system. Surgeries that require hospitalization can only be performed at general hospitals, and there are usually only 1 or 2 in each city. There are operating rooms in private institutions, but only general hospitals have inpatient rooms. For major surgeries that require hospitalization, you have no choice but to use the operating rooms in general hospitals. So the waiting time for surgery can be as short as a year. And do they at least allow for a long hospitalization? No. The hip surgery I'm waiting for only requires a 1-day stay. So they asked if I have someone to take care of me at home. Even if you are unable to move on your own, the hospital will discharge you as soon as the threat to your life ends, simply because there are not enough hospital beds. In cases where it is absolutely necessary, a social worker is sent to the home once a day. For this reason, individuals with chronic illnesses or weak health should definitely avoid immigrating to Canada. I strongly recommend that those who are already here do not cancel your home country's health insurance. This allows you the vital option to return home for essential checkups and time-sensitive treatments whenever necessary. I foolishly obtained citizenship too early. Even now, I go to Korea for tests and treatments that are not covered by insurance. In the second part, I will share my specific experiences. and how to utilize private institutions as a survival strategy to overcome this. Thank you for watching.